What's up, guys? This is Blank Boy, and today I want to pose a thought experiment, really. So most people watching this probably acknowledge that there is a non-zero amount of differences between the sexes, to say nothing of whether or not those are innate or socialized. At the very least, probably everyone can acknowledge that in sexually reproductive species, animal species like chimpanzees, there is a difference in at least the observable behaviors of the males and the females. And this poses an interesting line of thought for us. You can sort of think of male and female as the primordial types. Yes, these types are essentially sexual strategies, even present in non-animal species that are sexual, like plants, this sort of thing. But I guess cool animals are great and all, but I'm gonna just try to whatever. That's not what this video is about. This is not about plans. Anyway, so in acknowledging this, I want to pose the following thought experiment. If aliens abducted you and asked you to describe what makes men and women different, and you couldn't speak of any of their physical characteristics, any of their sexual characteristics, can't talk about that for whatever reason, what would you tell them? What would you say? And you can go ahead and take a moment. You can pause the video if you'd like, sort of think about it for a minute or write some things down. Now, what you ended up saying, probably, unless you're a huge asshole, was probably something that sounded kind of like this, like, again, just setting aside whatever physical differences, whatever sexual differences, you may have said, well, on average, men can rotate in space three-dimensional objects a little bit better than women can on average. Something like that. Or maybe you said that, there's plenty of overlap, but yes, women are on average more interested in people and men more so in things, or that there is some small difference in their competence of reading nonverbal cues, though again more overlap than not, or that men tend to be a little bit more competitive or assertive than women, or you maybe spoke to the differences in relational or item-specific information processing. Whatever you said, to say nothing of whether or not any of that stuff is true. I just listed a bunch of stuff that I could find in articles on the subject. You were essentially talking about things that, while there are maybe some differences in the average of these large groups of people, right? Half the population over here and another half the population over there. None of it was cut and dry, right? None of it was just, well, all the men do this and all the women do that, and never the two shall meet. And it's just, okay, cool. It's clear cut. And we're done. And in thinking about this, in doing this thought experiment and trying to figure out, okay, well, where do the differences lie? And if male and female are the primordial types, if we can think of those as sort of the most ancient types, well older than humans themselves. Then what makes anyone, in any claims that people make about one type or another, why should anyone make such a clear-cut claim about any of the psychological types? Why should anyone say, oh, well, this one cries a bunch more, and is way more likely to kill themselves. That one is a fucking robot and a scheming mastermind and doesn't care about anyone. And this one has its head in the clouds and whatever. That one has no imagination. Like, I don't know about you guys, but these are like the types of things that I've heard. And obviously, not everyone's doing this, right? Obviously, not everyone's talking like this. That one's way smart. That one's way dumb, right? These sorts of things. Not everyone's doing this, but I just want us to be able to, take a step back and say, if these are not even the types of claims that if on its face, I could say that's absurd if you replace, whatever type with male or whatever type with female. If people are saying these same things about one sex or the other, and we were plain to see on its face how absurd that is, then how can they be saying these same things about a psychological type? I think that's patently absurd. Just sounds fucking ridiculous, right? All right, yeah, take what you will. All right, later.